And I'm here to talk about the animatronic movie almost a decade in the making. Step right into the neon-soaked nostalgia of the 80s at Freddy's Fantastic Pizza Palace, your friendly neighborhood pizza joint that will totally not have your child's disappearance on the 9 o'clock news. With murder on the menu and stuffing for dessert, nothing bad could ever happen here. Anyone born in the early 2000s has heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. Whether you have heard of the games, watched your favorite YouTubers play it, or seen the Eldritch lore. Over a dozen games on every platform, and a book series that, oh my god, that's a lot of books. But after fighting the elementary school of dead children's souls down in the darkest pits of hell came the FNAF movie, starring Freddy Fazbear, don't touch him, Bon Bon, the Chicken Lady, Foxy the Pirate, Fred the Bear, the man behind the slaughter from Phone Guy to Purple Guy to William Afton to Furry. He puts the W in mass child murder and kidnapping. A cupcake. I don't know how you have the highest kill count. Josh Hutcherson, Joe's victim, and a child.
No.
Before we get into this little rewrite, I want to state that I respect Scott, like, a lot as an indie developer. I was there when the Deep Magic was written, and my respect could be classified as something else, but... oh, we're not getting into that today. Thank you for my childhood, and for making my pet insane. My respects also go to director Emily Tammy, and everyone else involved. Additionally, I am not a professional writer and have not been pummeled by every major studio, so everything I say comes out of a place of goofy fun. However, I have set limitations on myself for this little rewrite of sorts. Number 1, I can't remove characters from the story, so don't worry guys, Doug is still here. 2, I'm gonna stick to the general premise of the movie, aka I can't make a whole new film. 3, I can't physically add characters, so no Puppet or Mangle or any of the other couple hundred characters in this franchise. The big things I want to rework story-wise are the history of my favorite gravesite, utilizing Mike and William Afton, and not having Vanessa be an exposition dump, reinterpreting Five Nights at Freddy's and focusing more on overcoming trauma. The start of the movie is a flashback to the 80s. We have a younger Mike Schmidt attending his little brother's birthday party at Freddy's. You see how happy Mike is with his parents and younger brother, setting an atmosphere of joy and childhood wonder. Basically, I'm just removing all the camping stuff in Nevada. His mother has to help his father with something and instructs Mike to watch over his brother, Garrett. Garrett says something inaudible to Mike, and Mike brushes it off, saying, "Yeah, sure, see you around." However, Mike gets distracted when music and lights brighten up the whole room, and curtains slide to the ends of the stage just before the show starts. It doesn't show the animatronics fully, but you gotta build up to that first. He sees his brother is actually missing and tries finding him, yelling his name again and again. He sees a sliver of him go down a hall, holding someone's hand. He screams out for his brother as he sees him go into a back room. And from there, you get that awesome 8-bit intro showing the other kids getting lured into a back room, which is less awesome. From there, you have the same elements as the movie play out, with Mike having trauma over his brother, taking care of his younger sister, struggling financially, getting fired from his previous security position, etc, 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 etc. However, Aunt Jane in this case would be Aunt Jane from Child Protective Services alongside Doug, who sees Mike as unfit to handle taking care of his sister due to his violent tendencies and tells him to get his act together soon or they'll be taking possession of her. Mike goes to the office of an old family friend, Steve Raglan, a career counselor. Mike is presented with a job opportunity as a security guard at an old pizzeria that has a vacant position. Raglan rhetorically asks him, "Didn't your father work there ages ago?" Mike is against revisiting the place and would prefer any other options. Steve says there are a few jobs out there, but they aren't guaranteed. He tells him that if Mike changes his mind, he knows who to call. Mike tries to attend job interviews the next day, but is turned down due to his record. He comes home to find a late fee on the house's rent and a call from Child Protective Services initiating an investigation into whether or not he's fit to take care of his sister. With no other choice, he calls Steve Raglan for the job. Raglan talks about how he used to know a guy who ran the place, one of the co-owners, and how the place was popular in the 80s after the success of Fredbear's Family Diner. After it shut down, the owner kept it up because they were afraid to let the place go. He goes more into Mike's job as Mike becomes acquainted with the place. From there, it's the same setup, just with more ambiance and silence, which makes Mike uncomfortable and jumpy with the environment flashing between his memories and how it is now. In the office, an old video labeled Mike is left on the desk, and he inserts it into a player connected to a monitor. When the VHS plays, it shows an employee, Scott, showing him around Freddy's and stating his duties as a security guard, which brings a slight smile as Mike remembers his time with his family many years ago. I, for one, think having Scott be the official introduction to Freddy's would be a pretty emotional scene for myself and longtime fans. I know Scott is camera shy, which I get because I am too, but I would have gotten so emotional just hearing Scott doing his phone guy voice again and introducing what he had created. It gives phone guy an actual moment, and it's a fun connection to FNAF 1. The VHS ends in loud static as the video distorts after the animatronics are mentioned. He gets up and looks around the pizzeria, through the main stage area, and its many rooms. However, to the audience, he is clearly being watched, as large figures stand in the shadows or around corners. In this case, being watched by Bonnie and Chica. He goes back to the office and starts checking the security cameras. Tired and bored, Mike dozes off and dreams, reliving Garrett's disappearance at the pizzeria. But this time, two mysterious children, Jeremy and Susie, are present in the same gray hallway Garrett was let down, with three other kids lingering farther, near the doorway of a back room. Mike asks them what happened to his brother and who he was with, but the kids run off, and he chases after them. The audience would see Bonnie and Chica disappearing off the stage during this time. As the dream progresses, they creep towards the office, creating a sense of dread and suspense as they appear from monitor to monitor screen, their slow, yet metallic footsteps echoing in the halls. The audience would see the animatronics POV as they get closer and closer to the office. Mike falls while chasing the kids and crashes into the office floor. Back in reality, there's a quick flash of a slumped-over animatronic, and Bonnie and Chica start to creep away from the office. Mike gets up off the floor as his alarm goes off. He looks at his wrist, his watch reading 6 a.m., meaning he's free to go for the night. So between this and night 2, there isn't much I'd change, besides obviously axing the whole Aunt Jane stuff, but Abby still wants to go with Mike, and the whole babysitter thing is still in there, so... Mike goes to Freddy's for a second night. It's pouring, and Mike feels uncomfortable, as if he's being watched. In the office, the monitors are glittering and flickering more, and it seems as though the animatronics are leaving their stage, but he can never be sure as they pop in and out of frame. Additionally, due to the quality of the cameras, he can't tell if Pirate's Code keeps moving, or if it's all in his head. He keeps noticing that objects in the office are moving around, and he sees a pane of glass with the words, "It's me," written out. Creeped out, Mike is on high alert as he investigates the whole area and finds nothing. Reassuring himself that everything is fine, Mike goes back to the office and makes it till 4 in the morning. He ends up dozing off due to exhaustion and runs into the kids again in his dream. This time, they're a lot closer to him. He at first asks who they are, and he receives no reply. Once more, he tries to ask them if they know anything and if they can tell him something at all. During this time, you see a hook scraping against the wall as it gets closer to Mike sleeping in his office. The kids start running across the pizzeria, and he quickly catches up to Fritz, Foxy's spirit, and gets cut by a claw in his hand. The child screeches as it seems like he's being pushed back by some force. His eye is black, dark red liquid going down his face. Mike wakes up on the floor, and the audio systems go haywire in the office as it starts playing noises. While resetting the power, Foxy quickly appears in the doorway for a second, but disappears once the power is reset. A buzzer goes off, and Vanessa, a police officer, introduces herself to Mike. From there, it just continues similarly to the movie, with her getting him patched up and everything, albeit a bit trimmed down, as Vanessa is kind but a bit more closed off, and is not as talkative to Mike. She only really talks to him as much as she needs to. Vanessa mentions that Mike doesn't look like he's doing too hot and should quit for his own good if he can't keep up with his job. Mike states that he needs this job and he can't quit right now. Vanessa backs off, but makes it clear he should leave as soon as possible, and this isn't the greatest place after a bunch of kids disappeared. Mike comments begrudgingly, "You know, after 13 years, I would have hoped you guys figured something out, and how a bunch of kids don't disappear off the planet." Vanessa avoids replying, changing the subject to if he's seen the animatronics, and hits a showtime button. The animatronics come to life, but Mike steadily feels uncomfortable as he notices that all the animatronics are staring at them during their performance. However, the animatronics start short-circuiting and moving unnaturally. The curtains draw to a close. Mike asks, since this is on her radar, if she's seen anything weird. Once more, she redirects his question by mentioning that if he's going to work here, he needs a badge, which she takes from the prize counter, stating he's official. From there, it plays out the same as the movie, although the break-in takes a bit closer to night instead of the middle of the day. And there was a lot of ideas that I had, and it ranged from kind of cheesy to boring. But I'm here to feed you guys the good succulent nourishment that pleases your brain and taste buds. So I got to cooking. And I think the reason for the break-in is this one dude. Yes, this dude is the brother of the security guard whose position opened up. And due to not hearing from him in a while, he takes some of his friends, including the babysitter, to investigate the place. During these said investigations, the friends start messing with the place and each other as they mention the disappearance of kids from 13 years ago, and a rabid animatronics as there was a rumor one attacked a staff member. However, the younger brother looks for answers, scavenging the location. This is where the bloodbath happens, where the animatronics start hunting them down. Albeit, it's not as goofy and it's a lot darker and more serious, with more tension and silence as the animatronics silently stalk their prey. Also, there's less of the cupcake, and the animatronics are actually active and doing stuff and being creepy. There's no babysitter for Abby. Mike is forced to take her with him. He lays down the ground rules for her, but when he arrives to Freddy's, he finds police leaving the scene. He asks one of the policemen what happened. The policeman, being Matt Pat, the officer gives a rundown on what he thinks the intruders did, but states that
just a theory.
There's just some minor damage, and the perps seem to have run off, so there's no real reason to stay, and they head off. Mike brings Abby inside where they meet Vanessa, who's wrapping up and cleaning some of the place up. This is where you basically have all the stuff set in the house when she first visits. While they're talking, Raglan shows up, stating, "It's a real mess around here." Mike notices a change in Vanessa's behavior as she goes from friendly to silent and anxious. Raglan states that he sees Mike has met his daughter. Raglan gives Vanessa a quick look as he tries to be friendly towards Abby, clearly taking an interest in her, but she hides behind Mike. Mike tells Abby not to worry. He's an old family friend of their dad. He proceeds to ask if it's okay if she's here. Raglan states it's okay and asks how their dad is doing. It's been a while. Mike mentions that he doesn't know. Their dad left them after their mom died. He wasn't the same anymore. Raglan says it's such a shame to hear that. And he apologizes to Mike about the whole break-in situation and that they'll be out of their hair soon enough so he can get back to work, making Vanessa reaffirm his statement. Mike and Abby set up in the office as he watches the cameras as Raglan and Vanessa leave the premises. He continuously flickers through the cameras, clearly tired, as Abby sleeps soundly in her little fort. He starts to doze off until he hears an unidentifiable whisper echoing in his ear. At first he thinks it's Abby, but he sees her fast asleep. The voice gets louder, depending on where he moves, and cautiously he follows the sound, leading him to a supply closet featuring hundreds of dusty security tapes. He takes one out of the box and looks at them, seeing them dating back to the mid-80s. When he looks up, it reads, "Hold," on a box, which was definitely not there before. He starts moving to the other side of the room, where a box now reads, "Warmer." Mike keeps moving and is led to a broken piece of wall, storing 4 tapes inside, dating 11/14/1987, 11/9/1987, one from a week ago, and the date of when Garrett disappeared. Behind him, you see a quick flash of Golden Freddy sump against the door. During this time, Abby also hears something and is led to the main stage area, where Freddy's eyes glow. Mike heads back to the office, carrying the tapes, and realizes Abby is missing. He hears a scream and runs out, and sees Abby being tickled by animatronics. From there, it plays out the same as the movie, minus the whole dream sequence from earlier. So basically, I'm fine with all the stuff from Mike meeting the Robo Gang till like the 4th night. So the scenes are fine, and all I would really do is tweak the combo between Abby and Mike over Garrett, and alter some of the less delightful dialogue. But with the Garrett combo, it would be mentioned that Garrett showed her, and he's still there. And the drawing this time is Garrett going to a room holding a yellow hand. Confused and bewildered, Mike asks what she means, and she says Garrett is still there. But it's not just him anymore, so it's hard. He can't really talk, so he typically draws stuff with her. Mike desperately asks if she can communicate with him, which she tries to, but receives no response. Mike thinks the two of them are losing it, but Abby swears she's telling the truth, and she'll ask the other kids if she can come with him again to Freddy's. So I hate to break it to you, but I don't mind the fort scene. It shows that it's kids inside the suits, and that they aren't these serial killer robots because they never have been. Silly children. The only thing I'd change is to make it more evident that Mike wants to play the security tape in the office, but is wrapped into Abby and Vanessa's little shenanigans and can't do so. Additionally, when Vanessa goes off to get a canopy for the fort, Mike comes out of distrust as he notices her avoidance and lack of clarity while also giving some time for Abby to talk to the animatronics. But I still keeping the Springlock scene along with the Garrett stuff, albeit he would go into greater depth on it, similar to how the Creek scene goes into depth on it and the relationship between the two. However, in this case, Vanessa would claim to be confused about how they'd be able to communicate with the animatronics in the first place. They're just robots. They don't talk. The rest of the scene continues, minus the "who the hell are you," as Mike just glares at her instead, and she just says she's trying to help. Mike tries questioning her about it, but Abby gets injured when she tries to play Gombani's guitar. More emphasis is put on Vanessa not wanting them to return here and to stay away, but Mike is determined to find answers. There is no "I will shoot you" scene though, which was pretty stupid. Just more so Vanessa plays into the whole "take care of your little sister, she's hurt," and Vanessa mentions she can try finding another job for him if he really needs it. The car part with Abby is also changed, with first Mike asking if she's talked to the animatronics, but ultimately she hasn't, and she's upset over the fact of not helping him, and he tries to comfort her. Mike gets into contact with the girl at the ice cream place at the mall and asks if she could look after Abby since he has some work to do and can't bring her along since it's too dangerous. The two seem to get along, so he heads out. I kind of want to keep the pharmacy scene because I kind of like it, it's kind of funny. Mike goes to Freddy's and starts looking at the tapes. The first one he puts in is from when Garrett disappeared. The distorted VHS shows a creepy and unsettling video from the perspective of camera footage, first showing a birthday party and everyone celebrating, where a young child starts leaving from the table. It cuts to another view where he runs into someone wearing a yellow rabbit costume, where it seems that the rabbit is comforting the upset child before proceeding to lead him towards the back room, and the two enter. The film goes to black. He loads in another tape once more, showing a yellow rabbit, leading kids individually toward the back. He recognizes them, the kids from his dreams, the kids that Abby has been drawing. Film-wise, it would be like quickly cutting between shots of him loading it in and highlighting the important parts of the video. It would be considered a montage of shots, but focus is put on the first one, with obvious references to the bite of 87, disappearance of the children, Garrett's death, or disappearance, whoopsies, and the case with the previous security guard. A part of Mike recognizes the golden rabbit, and he starts searching the office for records. He finds a folder about Fredbear's Family Diner, finding both a gold rabbit and a bear, with the founders being William Afton and Henry, who wore the suits to entertain children. Realizing who his brother's potential kidnapper is, he takes sleeping pills and forces himself to sleep so he can communicate with the spirits, try and get some information out of them. He starts to dream. However, it's different this time. Everyone is happy and enjoying the party, and Garrett is fine. A confused Mike questions his reality, and Gabriel, Freddy's spirit, says that this could be his reality, and that he knows this is what Mike has been wishing for. During this time, all the animatronics are moving off the stage and heading towards the office. He tries to ask the kids who William Afton is, and they don't know. He then asks if they know who the yellow rabbit is, and Gabriel says that the yellow rabbit takes care of them. He's not like the other adults. They're mean and crude, but the yellow rabbit is kind and loves them all. Mike tries telling them that the yellow rabbit took them, but he's interrupted by his mom, who tells him to sit down and enjoy the party. The spirits and Mike's mom and dad keep telling him to sit down and enjoy the party, and Freddy says that he can live like this forever. And it's basically the same conversation in the movie between him and Mike, like all of it, the trade with Abby, his desire to stay, him initially saying yes, all that stuff. Although Garrett doesn't say anything during this time. Mike begs to take the dough back as he stands in an empty pizzeria. The animatronics start heading down the hall to his office, but something is preventing them from moving forward as Fredbear sits slouched on the ground. Suddenly, Garrett bursts through the curtains on stage, shouting at Mike that the yellow rabbit wants Abby, telling him to run, as a bunch of hands behind the curtain grab him and yank him back. Suddenly, Mike finds himself in his memory, his true memory of what happened. He tells Garrett off for pestering him and being clingy, and Garrett, clearly upset at his brother's lack of affection, wanders away as the show on stage begins. The other kids start attacking Garrett as they overpower him and drag him away. Freddy yells at him for disobeying the yellow rabbit. He's all they have left. They don't know what happened, but he's the only one that cares for them right now. He asks Garrett why he would do that. He knows what happens when they disobey, and he starts to well up with tears. Garrett tells him that Mike is his brother, and he has to find out what happened to them. Seeing that Garrett is gone, a young Mike tries to find him and sees a man in a yellow rabbit suit, leading him to the back rooms. The kids force Garrett inside a black box with yellow hinges. It's cutting between the kids, forcing him in, and the animatronics. Mike screams out his brother's name. The rabbit turns around, looking at Mike with empty black sockets for an uncomfortable long time before he closes the door. Mike wakes up as he hears metal footsteps. Quickly, he barricades the door so that none of them can get in. With adrenaline in his veins, he puts everything he can against the door as he starts to hear fists and scratching coming from the door. He checks the monitors, seeing them trying to close him off. The sound of the door gets increasingly vicious as they all draw closer and closer. Mike finds a vent and unscrews it, rushing into it as the door gives way. He bursts down one of the vents and tries to head towards the exit, but the handle won't budge. The room goes black, pitch black. Mike finds himself tied down in a chair with a man sitting by a desk, humming a song to himself with linear scars across the back of his neck. Mike tries moving but can't due to the contraption's restrictions. A familiar voice asks, "Did you enjoy the party, Michael?" A pause enters the air. Mike knows this voice, but he can't believe it's true. "Mr. Raglan?" "You're a clever one, I'll tell you that." His voice became rich, confident, and demanding. "How much do you know about this place?" From here, Raglan is trying to get info out of Mike to see what he knows, as Mike is fidgeting in his chair, trying to buy time for him to break free. Mike says he doesn't know anything, and that the animatronics were going crazy earlier and tried to attack him. A mask with blades above him starts moving in rapid motion. Raglan gets up, placing something on his head as he walks over to Mike. Raglan says he's a pretty bad liar. Mike sees the silhouette of a rabbit in the darkness as he comes into the light, revealing an old golden suit with hollow black eyes. Mike's heart stops for a second as fear starts to take hold. He once more asks Mike to tell him the truth. Mike angrily asks what he did to his brother and to the other children. Afton responds, saying that they are home with me, able to live the happiest moments of their lives forever. Mike mentions how he doesn't see how Afton kidnapping them would be the happiest moment of their lives. Afton clarifies by saying, "They don't remember, they've forgotten, and the dead do forget." Expanding on this, he states that all they know is that any adult who steps in here is trying to ruin their happiest day. You're an intruder, and a vengeful, confused, and frightened child doesn't care to see rhyme or reason. He mentions how Mike shouldn't even have lived this long. He should have died nights ago, and for that, Mike should consider his past few days with glee and consideration. Mike asks what makes him so safe from them. He's an adult too. A glimmer appears in Afton's eyes. "Because I am one of them." He activates a switch, and the blades start coming down towards Mike's face. As he struggles to break free from the chair, he's able to remove one of the cuffs and deactivate the other, barely escaping as the mask comes down, cutting into the chair. Mike finds the bodies of the people who broke in, including the previous security guard. The bodies are mangled, and it appears that they're being experimented on. Some stuffed into costumes, others hooked up to mechanisms and contraptions. From here, it continues the same as the movie does. The stuff with Abby plays the same, but at first she's hesitant because Golden Freddy isn't Garrett, it's someone else. But Freddy reassures her, saying that he's back at the pizzeria, and they're all waiting for her so they can have fun and play games. Mike finds himself at a police outpost, where Vanessa tries to take care of him and his wounds. During this time, he confronts her about everything he's seen and found out. Most of the dialogue is the same as the movie, it's just expanded on, as he knows about her father controlling the animatronics to get Abby, Afton's experimentation on people, and what really happened to those kids. All the stuff with Abby getting into the pizzeria is fine, including Vanessa's dialogue on the search, although heavily trimmed. Keep all the stuff on the police searching the place top to bottom, but the yellow rabbit knew it would happen and hid their bodies somewhere they never check. Show, not tell. They do a good job already, making it clear where they're hidden. Vanessa makes it clear that she's sorry, and how she couldn't go through with it after she started talking to Mike and meeting his sister. She tried to make them leave, but in the end, she was useless. If what Mike says is true, then there's nothing they can do. And she begins to sob. Mike asks her what Afton did to her, and she says he used to be a good man. They used to be happy. Him, her, and her brother. Then one day, he just wasn't the same. She says there has to be some good in him somewhere still, but Mike tells Vanessa that he needs her right now. He doesn't know what Afton has done to her, but right now his sister really needs help, and he can't do this on his own. What he did to his sibling was all his fault, and he won't stand around without doing something this time. Meanwhile, all the stuff with Abby getting lured is all the same. Mike asks how he can beat the animatronics, and is told electricity can short-circuit them. Mike asks her to come with him, but at first she refuses, coming up with excuses, but Mike knocks some sense into her, saying that she can't live in fear for the rest of her life, as her dad keeps doing these horrendous things. If she has a problem with it, she needs to stand up for what she believes in as an officer of the law and as Vanessa Shelley. He leaves with the gear in a police car she lends him, but it's clear Vanessa looks affected by his words as she eyes another set of keys. So after this, the movie plays out the same. Big shocker, I know. I say it a lot, and it's redundant, but shut up. I don't want to re-explain too much as if it already isn't in the film. And also, for the sake of the video's runtime, the only thing I can say is to extend Abby being put into Ella, or whatever the doll's name is, so it's more tense. And also extend the Foxy scene with him breaking the games and scratching the machines to scare her out and add to the horror. Think of Silver Highs, basically. Mike fights Spring Bonnie this time, with Afton not being as talkative, but just as brutal towards him, as Afton has no intent on letting Mike get out alive. Afton leaves Mike on the ground, saying that he shouldn't have returned if he valued his life. Mike tells him to go to hell.
The darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole.
Afton kicks him in the face and tells the animatronics to wake up, as someone is trying to ruin their happiest day. The animatronics get up and start heading in Mike's direction. Afton tells Mike, "Your sister's gonna love it here. She'll get to play and have fun every single day for all of eternity. Unfortunately, you'll have to go before she does." Vanessa stops Afton before he can stab Mike. Meanwhile, Abby hears banging sounds as she finds a black box hidden away. She opens it to find Golden Freddy lying inside. His body is lifeless, and his eyes are empty. Abby begs Garrett to help Mike, and Golden Freddy's eyes light up with a small white pupil as he suddenly vanishes. Vanessa confronts William as William questions her behavior and tries to manipulate her back to his side in a calculative manner. Unlike the movie, he isn't as aggressive. However, he tries using persuasion and keeps a calm and confident demeanor. However, with newfound resolve, she shoots him, and Afton's anger comes out as he screams at Vanessa about her character as a failure of a child and proceeds to attack Vanessa and stab her. Her body crumples as she falls to the floor. He goes to finish the job with Mike, but the knife ends up going into Golden Freddy, who is slumped in front of Mike. With all the other animatronics surrounding them, Afton proceeds to stab furiously at Mike, but either hits Golden Freddy or an invisible wall, preventing him from hurting Mike. Mike yells to all the children about what happened in 1987 and what Afton did to them. He took them away from their happiest day, and everyone they loved and cared for. Mike is able to make them remember what Afton did to them, and they all begin to turn on him. Afton, realizing he's losing control, yells out in anger, using the same tactic he used on Vanessa by belittling them, but it doesn't work. He starts backing up, but his leg is bitten by the cupcake. He grabs it and throws it off of him, and starts laughing and belittling them again. And suddenly, the spring locks inside the suit go off, and William dies slowly and painfully, where the four animatronics drag him into the back. Mike hugs Golden Freddy. "Garrett, I know you're in there. Thank you. Thank you for saving me and for guiding me through this place. Thank you for watching me after me and fighting this whole time." Abby joins in on the hug. "I wish I could have done the same for you all those years ago and been the brother that you deserved." I'll always love you, Garrett. See you around. The audience sees a quick flash of them hugging Garrett's spirit before he fades away. The pizzeria starts sparking and the place falls into disarray. Mike grabs a bloody Vanessa and carries her out as the three leave this nightmare once and for all. And that's basically it. That's my rewrite of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The other parts in the ending are still there, of course, with some dialogue changes and Child Protective Services dropping the case due to limited evidence for a ruling. But I covered what I wanted to for this movie, and I understand that not everyone will agree with my choices and decisions, but at the very least, I hope that everyone found this entertaining. And I hope I was able to provide an emotional story that captures the essence of Five Nights at Freddy's, a tale of family, loss, tragedy, and overcoming our past and moving forward. Till then, I'll see you guys around. This is Balthazar, signing off. Come on. Come on. No. No. This is fine.